What lengths will you go to get attention? And it doesn't matter how old you are, apparently.
I feel like this is like what happens when, just like how old people be behaving when they don't get attention, they just be falling down the stairs for no goddamn reason.
Because, yeah, who's paying that bill, Grandma? Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I am Selena and today we are talking about grannies. We are on the floor today. I have a lot going on. We're moving this room around a little bit, so let's just get comfy and sit down together. Anyways, I want to know your thoughts about what we're about to get into. We're going to talk about attention-seeking grannies. So if that sounds interesting to you, keep on watching. If you're new here, welcome. We dive into messiness on the internet. We kind of talk about discernment. We talk about life lessons. But I think it's really just a discussion, to be honest. And I like to talk to you guys. So if that sounds fun to you, then please subscribe. So I saw this video and it has almost 8 million views at this point. The creator who posted it, her name is Grace. Keep in mind, this is the first video that she has on her TikTok profile. So it's just kind of crazy that it went off. The caption says, #Roadtrip, #Florida, or, you know, #Roadtrip, #Florida. And it says, point of view, your grandma got tangled up in the seatbelt 11 hours into your road trip. So you have to call the fire department to cut her out. That's not funny, but check out her video. Now, I started out this video saying attention-seeking grandmas because everyone on TikTok is responding to this and they're like, I do not want to be one of those grandmas that seeks attention all the time. And you know, it had me thinking because, and I've mentioned this before on my channel, I've never had a grandma, which doesn't mean I never had one. It's just they passed away before I was born, or I was too young. I believe I did the math because I found an obituary the other day, and I believe I was 2 or something when my mom's mom passed away. But I really want to know your thoughts. If you know someone that is a grandma and acts like this, or if you know of someone. I do think that my husband's grandma on his dad's side, I just feel like she wasn't an attention-seeking grandma. She wanted you to visit her all the time and she would kind of guilt you if you didn't. But do y'all have any instances where there's an older lady or a grandma or even a grandpa, older man, that does things for attention? Because how did this lady get tangled up like that? Like, was she doing somersaults in the back while they're on a road trip?
Now, I'm not saying this is true for everybody, but I will say I have heard the stereotype about grandmothers being needy and doing things that are borderline or actually are dangerous to get attention. And I do think that this somehow correlates to, obviously, we know there's this vicious cycle where women are pressured constantly to stay looking youthful, to stay thin, all the things that you can think of. They just kind of go around in a cycle, body trends, etc. And as women get older in general, I think they do start to feel invisible by society. And obviously, you know, hopefully that will change. But I think also just, you know, as someone who is interacting with women who are 70 and older a lot, I've noticed that a lot of them don't have friends, right? Their friends have either died or they, you know, had to move, or they had to sell their home that they've been living in their whole lives to move into a community that supports their, you know, long-term needs. And as a result, they just don't have a social circle. And so I think that they, just like anybody else, they need that attention. And so they start to, instead of just saying, I need attention from my family, you know, they don't want to bother, they don't want to seem like they're annoying, they just do things to get that attention. And I think it's quite sad because, like I said, I just see a lot of women who literally have no one. Like, some of them, their husbands are also dead. So it's just like they're pretty isolated, you know? So, I don't know, hug your grandma.
Let's dive into the comments because you know that's my favorite part. But seriously, how do you think that she rolled around and got in that situation? If you hear noises, that's my dog Mochi on the side. And these comments are really funny, actually. There was no stairs to fall down, so she had to improvise. Mind you, all she had to do was sit there because that is true. All she had to do was sit there, but if you look at the video before the firefighters approach her, it is like a tight seatbelt. I don't know. So she must have twisted and turned. And if you're on a road trip, I just actually did a road trip, like a 9-hour road trip. Anyways, if you're moving around, unless the seatbelt locks, it shouldn't restrict you like that. So she must have really extended the seatbelt for it to lock, for her to get stuck in that situation.
Oh my God, this irritated me so much. Like, grandmama, what were you doing back there to get tangled up in a car, to get tangled up by a seatbelt? All you had to do was just sit your old ass down back there and not move a muscle. I feel like this is like what happens when, just like how old people be behaving when they don't get attention, they just be falling down the stairs for no goddamn reason. Like, the stairs wasn't it, because obviously they were not there and available to her, so she had to find another way. She just had to improvise. Like, she got tangled so bad that the fire department had to help her. That is embarrassing. You've lived your entire life knowing how seatbelts operated, and yet you still somehow managed to get tangled up at the end of the day at your old age.
I'd be so irritated. What do you mean you're tangled up in the seatbelt? How? I honestly can't even like this video. This genuinely pissed me off. That would piss me off too, especially if you're having a long day and then you see that situation and then you're gonna have to call the firefighters. Mind you, which we'll get into, it's a rental car. So they had to cut her out, which makes it even more terrible. She was back there twirling or something. I'd be irritated. When she finally got some attention, y'all didn't give her enough attention. This is a great question. Why is she facing backwards? I've never even seen a child accomplish this. 80 years of experience, by the way. Mind you, the 3-point seatbelt has been around since 1959. She's had 68 years of experience with 3-point seatbelts. And it has me thinking, like, we give people grace here on this channel, like, coming from the grandma's perspective, right? I like to think about, when you're older, think about if you're outliving people in your circle, whether it's your friends, your family, that's gotta be sad, right? And so the people that you're around, maybe that's why they're saying that grandmas like to get attention, because you just feel lonely, which doesn't justify tangling yourself in the seatbelt if she did that on purpose. Because, yeah, who's paying that bill, Grandma, for the firefighter to cut you out? Did you just want to see a firefighter? Anyways, back to giving her grace. There's a chance that maybe she's lonely, or maybe the driver and the passenger weren't including her in the conversation, or she couldn't hear them talk. We don't know. There is a response video that Grace posted. She actually posted this 40 minutes ago that I see. So we'll watch that together, but I don't think it gives much context, to be honest, on what had happened. But let's go ahead and check that out.
Hey y'all, so this is my story time on the video I posted of my grandmother getting stuck in the seatbelt. So basically, I'm from Virginia and we were on a road trip. I was with my grandma and my aunt, and we rented a rental car. We were on our way back to Virginia from Sarasota, Florida. So basically, this is what happened. So we had stopped to go to the bathroom at the South Carolina, North Carolina border. My grandmother had been asleep, but we woke her up to go to the restroom, and we got back on the road. I was driving, and mind you, 10 minutes into driving, I heard the little seatbelt beeper going off, and my grandma was like, "What is that noise?" And I was like, "Girl, put your seatbelt back on. It's the seatbelt sensor." So like 2 minutes after I tell her to put it back on, it goes away. Mind you, my aunt had been driving for like hours, and she was asleep or going to sleep in the seat next to me. So I'm thinking my grandma put her seatbelt back on because the sensor stopped dinging. The car was quiet. We were good. I'm driving, minding my business. Next thing I know, she calls my aunt's name, and she's like, "I need your help." And my aunt's not answering her, so I'm like, "What do you need help with?" She says, I'm stuck. And I'm like, girl, what do you mean you're stuck? So she says, my seatbelt, like I'm stuck. So I'm like, great. So I wake my aunt up, and she's like hanging over into the back seat trying to get this girl out. She cannot get her out. Mind you, this is very important. My grandma has dementia, okay? So her dementia is like short-term memory. It's not like full-on dementia to where like she don't know who we are. But anyway, so my aunt's like, Grace, it's bad, like we gotta pull over. So like I said, we're in a rental car. She brand new. She got 3,000 miles on her. So we pull over. Mind you, we're in North Carolina, nowhere, nothing around. So we pull into the first gas station that I see. There's literally nothing else around. I have no idea where we're at. We get out the car. We think that this shit is funny, because how the hell do you do this? Mind you, the seatbelt was not hooked into nothing, okay? Like, I don't know how this girl did this, but she just tangled herself all the way up. So we can't get her out. We have nothing in the car. Obviously, it's a rental car. We have nothing in the car to, like, help us get her out. So we're struggling. So we asked somebody to come help us. So I go inside, and I'm talking to the people in the gas station, and there was only one girl in there, and they were like all asking me what was going on. Nothing they could do to help. And like I said, it was like 11:30 at this point. So everything is closed. I don't know where we're at. There's nothing around us. So I walk back outside, and they're like, so yeah, we called the fire department to come get her out. Because at this point, like, my grandma's crying. She's confused. She's all over the place. And we're mad as hell. And we're ready to get home. We had been in the car for like 11 hours. And this was like an hour ordeal. Like, ooh, it's crazy. So the fire department gets there. They snip her out. We were like, I feel so bad for my aunt. Like, she gonna have to put a new seatbelt, whatever. Brand new car, rental car. But, you know, whatever. So that was what it was. We get her out, because she was like in pain. She was crying. You couldn't even, like, it was so tight, like around her torso. You couldn't even like slip your fingers in between it. But yeah, basically, guys, that's what happened. She's okay. But yeah, that's what happened. We have no idea how she did this. But thanks y'all for watching.
Okay, well, I'm glad Grandma is okay. It's kind of crazy that the seatbelt was not plugged in, and the fact that it was so tight around her torso you couldn't put a finger under. So, yeah. I don't know. I don't know how she did that. The short-term memory and the mild dementia that Grace had mentioned, that makes sense, you know? So I do feel for that. But also, like, for some reason, the fact that the seatbelt was not plugged in makes me confused. But I would be curious to know if this is the first time that Grandma has done something like this, or, you know, just not completed a task fully. Because if it's a rental car, that rental car will probably have some sort of indicator that the seatbelt was not plugged in. So in my mind, did she unplug her seatbelt or unfasten her seatbelt, then start twirling herself intentionally or unintentionally? What do you guys think? Do you think that Granny, you know, did the tango in the back seat by herself and like got the seatbelt tangled up? I don't know.
Here's my theory on how that lady got stuck in the seatbelt. We just found out it was unbuckled. So I think she went in all the way through the seatbelt, arm came out, right? Maybe in an effort to get out of this predicament now, because maybe she forgot she already buckled or was trying to do it again or something. She grabs the seatbelt, does it again. Okay, yeah, you know what? I can see that. We do it again. And then now you're stuck. You're lost. You don't really know what happened. You have dementia. You forgot the last 5 minutes. I don't know if that lady had dementia. I didn't watch that story time. I don't really know what's happening. But she then, maybe they got out the car to get something from the gas station. She turns around to look for them to ask for help. It gets tighter. It locks. I still don't like this lady. This is still crazy, but a more feasible explanation from what might have happened. And I could see if you have dementia, you're not able-bodied, and the seatbelt locks, sure. Still annoying. Still would not be welcome back in my car. But I can see it now.
This is part 2 of trying to replicate the grandma who got tangled in her seatbelt. It was revealed that the seatbelt was unbuckled. In my attempt, it was buckled. So now that we have more information, maybe we can make a better idea of how she got tangled up. Maybe she, around like this, and then over, and then turned around. Nope. Okay, that's fine. And went over, like this. She turned around. Nope. But we're getting closer, though. We're getting closer. She did a backflip. Backflip in the chair. Some people say she might have been fighting the seatbelt. Oh, nope. No! I promise you, I literally have no idea how she could have possibly gotten stuck. Bro, unbuckled is easier to get out of. She did a cartwheel. And then... No way! Stop! No! Please! Get me out! No! Cut it. Cut the video. I'm done.
You know how I look? I just got out of bed. I've been studying that seatbelt video, that grandma seatbelt video, and I have come to my own conclusion. It had to be deliberate. I looked at that seatbelt for so long, trying to figure out how one could do that to them on accident. It could not have been an accident. I was looking at that seatbelt. So she pulled the seatbelt out, twisted it while it was off the body. 1,000%. Unless she can spin like a wine bottle opener, unless she can spin like a corkscrew, it had to have spun itself. Because it was unbuckled. She confirmed that it was unbuckled beforehand. Made a loop, did it a couple times, and stuck her body through it, because that is how she was tangled. I'm not gonna stick my entire body through, but you see, this is making pretty much, she may have spun it around a couple more times, I don't know, but this is how she was tangled. It was tangled like this, but on her waist. So unless she can spin like a corkscrew, that had to have been on purpose. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
I just thought that was insane. And the fact that they've had such a long day in the middle of nowhere. Shout out to the firefighters though, because they're there to help, fix all kinds of situations. Some comments under this video. Oh, I'm just in time. The fact that it's a rental makes it so much worse. OMG. Do you have a close-up of how the seatbelt was on her? Because for the life of me, I can't figure out what she did, LMAO. Okay, but actually, what was she doing back there? Not the rental. This story's kind of crazy, I'm not gonna lie, but it's also it makes you think, what lengths will you go to get attention? And it doesn't matter how old you are, apparently. Again, I'm not around people who are grandmas, but I do work in healthcare, so I do encounter grandparents, and I do encounter folks who have dementia. So it's kind of a slippery slope, but I don't necessarily see them regularly. I'm not specialized or anything. So I do want to hear your experiences. Do you think that this is intentional? Do you think that we should give people more grace in the geriatric population? Let me know in the comment section down below. Otherwise, are you going to celebrate Easter or do anything on Easter? I'm going to try to get this video up this weekend. I do have to go out of town, so I'm trying to get ahead on some things. I am going on a plane, and I'm, 30 something weeks pregnant now. I'm cleared to fly, but I'm just kind of scared. Unfortunately, a family member had passed away, so I have to go to Ohio, but I will try to edit this while I'm in the airport. Otherwise, let me know your plans. Are you going to celebrate Easter, or do you eat candy even if you don't celebrate Easter? Let me know. And let me know your thoughts about this video in the comment section down below. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. Like, share, subscribe. If you don't, I just appreciate you being here, and I will see y'all in my next video. I love you guys. Bye!